Interesting. You had a busy day today.
Sorry?
You've had a busy day today.
Yes, absolutely. So after our session, then I had a long meeting on Zoom as well, and just finished that right now. That's why you couldn't get into this meeting. So, okay, so it looks like we are now live on YouTube as well. So assalamu alaikum to those of you who are joining us on YouTube, and already assalamu alaikum to those who have joined us on Zoom. So welcome. As we normally do, we wait for a couple of minutes for everyone to join us. Maybe some of you would like to get your pens and papers ready, so you can do that now. Some of you might want to just sit down and do a bit of meditation, so you can focus on Mufti Hilal whilst he's talking. Do let us know what you do for these couple of minutes. So Hussein, Aisha, Arshad, Fiz and Ibrahim, do let us know what you do for these couple of minutes as we wait on everyone to join. Do any of you meditate? Do any of you maybe think, you know what, I've got a couple of minutes, why not make it useful and pray 2 rakats of nafil?
Friday, send some
Some of you think, you know
salutations.
what, I'm trying to finish my juz. Yeah, absolutely. So you can maybe send salutations upon Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? Because Allah is doing it and angels are doing it. So why not join in? And some of you might think, you know, I want to finish my juz of the Quran or half a juz or whatever amount you're doing. And then you can, you know, maybe do a few lines whilst we're waiting for everyone else to join. Okay, so there is a question here. Fiz and Ibrahim have a question. It's a bit off topic, that's fine. Hussein Tahir has come in and said he meditates during these 2-3 minutes. That's fun. What would you say about that, Mufti Hilal?
I was going to ask Hussein, what do you meditate about? What's your subject
What do you
of
meditate
meditation?
about, Hussein? Yeah.
What are you
because it's
thinking about?
Ramadan. Because it's Ramadan, do you think he might be meditating about food?
I got a delivery check, and
Ooh,
I just opened it.
And is it? I know what it is. Can I, Kashf? Is it one of these, Sheikh?
4 cake, Sheikh.
Oh, cakes. I thought it was going to be a miswak.
I'm sitting here waiting for iftar, and someone sent me cakes, and I've just got to sit here and look at them. So I've kept them right next to me to help me with my temptation.
Fantastic.
Self-control.
Subhanallah. Subhanallah. So Fiza and Ibrahim, please do share your question with us. Why do we say Allah Akbar 34 times? We do Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah 33 times.
Interesting.
So Mufti, off to you to start off with that question whilst I go onto YouTube to see if anything's there.
That is, it's according to how the Prophet ﷺ has taught us. So in one hadith, the Prophet ﷺ says, if you do this, you reach 100. So the idea is to get to 100. So 33, subhanallah, 33, alhamdulillah. And then 34, Allahu Akbar. In some hadith, it's actually 33, Allahu Akbar, and then you end with another dua, like La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah.
Yep.
And in other narrations, you have 10, 10, 10. So 10, subhanallah, 10, alhamdulillah, 10, Allahu Akbar. So the numbers are based on what Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has taught us. So it's just like Salah. Why do we do 4 for Dhuhr and 2 for Fajr? Or why 3 for Maghrib? Now we can try and work out certain reasons, and we can try and think about them ourselves. But ultimately, it's all coming back to what the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam taught. We want to do things the way he's informed us, the way he's told us is best to do.
Fantastic. And I think they are satisfied with the answer. Fantastic.
Hussein said, I meditate about the 5th session.
Oh, nice, nice. Well done, Hussein.
Meditating over 5th can be quite painful for some.
Point, Sheikh, good point. But that's why you're here, to make that process easy. Okay, Sheikh, so I have looked at YouTube. People are joining us. There's no questions there so far. And because we have now hit 5:05, it is bang on time to start our Fiqh Made Easy with Mufti by Ustad Hilal.
Oh, I like that. Emphasis on the Ustad.
Yep, there you go. No, you are not late, Zahra. Nope, nope, nope.
You're just on time, inshallah. Let me share my screen and then we can rolling, inshallah.
That looks like a film, Sheikh, where you have the main title and it's more like Salah,
You know what happened
connecting
today?
with your creator.
I was looking for pictures for everything today because I like to add pictures, right?
Yep.
And everything I was Googling turned out to be either a cartoon or a movie or something.
Oh, interesting.
I was trying to find a picture just for like, I don't know, I think it was nighttime sun or something. And then that would be like a movie. So all these pictures.
Okay.
I was looking for something else, and then that happens to be a cartoon or a PlayStation game. So I was just getting loads of those pictures.
Wow.
So it was quite interesting. Google's been hijacked by all these. Okay, let me just also open up the chat. Is today's session about Salah? Yes, well done, Hussein. So we're going to be looking at two things in Salah, and we'll cover them as we go along, inshallah ta'ala. Okay. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So Salah, connecting with your creator. So the reason why I put that there is because that is ultimately the objective and the purpose. Now, sometimes we can do things out of habit. It can just become a routine. I'm going to stand up, I'm going to raise my hands, I'm going to bow down, I'm going to move around, I'm going to turn my head right, left, up, down, whichever direction you're going to. So we want to focus more on the connecting with the creator part. That what is the objective? What is the purpose? Why are we doing this 5 times a day? And what do we aim to achieve? And what I'm going to try and do, I'm going to try and do the impossible today. I'm going to try and use the fiqh to help a person focus in their salah. So normally the fiqh gets pulled off quite a bit, that the fiqh is boring and it's purposeless. So today we're going to try and bring a purpose to the fiqh, and we're going to try and link it all together, inshallah. But we're going to cover some basics, inshallah, regarding salah. So, bismillah, here we go. Okay, first question for you guys. Takbir tahrima. So, first of all, who knows what takbir tahrima is? Just quickly drop a comment either on Zoom or on YouTube. I'll be keeping an eye out on YouTube, inshallah. What is takbir tahrima? And once you've worked that one out, what difference does this make, one action make to a person's life? So Fiza Ibrahim is saying Allahu Akbar. Zahra says takbir. Anybody on YouTube? We have 6 people on YouTube. Anybody want to jump in? What about Hussein? Hussein, what do you think about takbir tahrima? And what difference does that one action make to a person's life, or to that person's day, or to that person's routine at that moment in his life or her life? When you raise your hands and say Allahu Akbar, good. Right, takbir tahrima is essentially when you raise your hand, the first one, yeah. The first takbir, that's right. Well done, Zahra. So the first takbir, when you're about to start your prayer and you raise your hands to your ears, that's called takbir tahrima. But now, what does that do to you? How has that changed you? What difference has that made to your life now? What restrictions are in place? What could you do before maybe that you can't do now? What do you now need to think about? Focus on. Yes, that's right. You've got a question mark. I am asking a question. So takbir tahrim, imagine I've just said takbir, Allahu Akbar. Now what's happened? What's happened to me? Can I carry on living life like I used to? What if I'm hungry? Can I just pick up a bar of chocolate and start eating? Maybe if I need to go to the toilet, just walk off and go to the bathroom. You have begun salah. Good. Okay. You've begun your salah. Now what? You focus. Good. So you're going to start focusing. You pray. There are a lot of restrictions that have now come onto you. Actually, you've brought a lot of restrictions on yourself. Ultimately, when you've raised your hand here, you are now saying that my daily routine, whatever I used to do, I used to sleep, I used to eat, I used to walk around, I used to talk to people, all of that I'm going to stop. I'm going to throw the world behind me. I'm going to disconnect myself from this world I see around myself. And that's right, as Hussein said, you now start focusing and you now start talking to Allah. You now start going into a very special, unique state. And in a totally new, different atmosphere. And your whole day has now just been changed. You've like pulled yourself out of the little world that you were living in. And now you've put yourself into this special, unique place. And we're going to start looking at different things as to what it means to be in that specific place. What does it mean to be in this sacred space now that you said the takbir? But it all starts from here. Person fails to do this, they can't enter the door into this new area. You don't say the takbir, you don't enter. You don't, if you're passing from the world and you have a door here, that takbir basically allows you to get through into a space where you can now speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your prayer. Okay, now this is where I want you guys to brainstorm. What can we do to help us concentrate in salah? What can we do? Give me some tips. You can lock the door. Zahra, I like that. Why are you going to lock the door? So there's no noise. Okay, good. I've got the window open here. A lot of noise coming from outside. I could close the window. So are you saying that essentially you're going to isolate yourself? You're going to lock yourself away when the time comes for salah? Yes. Mirza Ibrahim, what can you do to help someone concentrate? Yellow Moss on YouTube says, Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Hussein, stay 2 meters away. Okay, you're talking about a different type of isolation now and social distancing. But look, we can use isolation and social distancing to help us concentrate in our salah. Learn the meaning of what you are reading from Ustada Aisha. Perfect. If you know what you're reading, for example, I've looked over Surah Al-Fatiha. I know what it means. Now, when I read Surah Al-Fatiha, my mind is focused totally on what I'm reading. And I know what I'm doing now. I'm not just Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen ar-Rahmanir Rahim. No, I'm thinking Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise is for Allah. And I'm thinking about how I want to praise Allah and why I'm praising Allah. Ustad Hamid, you're going to like this one. Hussein says, practice archery before salah because in archery you focus on the target and in salah it will help you focus in your salah.
SubhanAllah, fantastic. Well done, Hussein. Well done.
I think he's become a pure murid of yours now.
Absolutely. That's fantastic news, Sheikh.
Has he got to the level of khilafah?
Only if you can get to the yellow with consistency.
Consistency is key.
And then the consistency in focusing in salah as well, of course.
SubhanAllah. So yeah, you guys are giving me some really good ideas. Give me more. What else can we do? So we've got lock the door, close the windows, separate yourself from other people, distance yourself 2 meters away, isolation. Hussein is saying do some archery. It'll help you close your mind and just think about something very specific, very particular. Have a look at this. Let me give you some.
Zahra is saying, does Ustad Hamid do that? As a matter of fact, sometimes I do. So that same kind of mode that I get into for archery, I sometimes do that for salah as well, to take away everything else out of the mind. So just that solid focus.
Think about it. Before you start salah, how many things can you think about? You have about probably 274.69 things to think about, right? I've got to think about where I got to go. I've got to think about what I'm wearing. I've got to think about what I'm going to eat. I need to think about who's going to walk in next, what I'm going to play, what I'm going to do. Your mind is so busy. You're thinking about these 200 and how many did I say? 46.79 things. Is that correct? And all of a sudden, you now need to close the door. You need to shut all of that away and just think about one thing only. And try and make sure that you have no other distractions. And that is the challenge. That is one of the biggest challenges any human being can face. Can you imagine you're at work or you're at school and you're doing one thing after the other, going from one lesson to the other, and you've got homework or you've got an exam coming up, and all of these things are just piling up in your mind. And your brain is about to boil. And then when the time for salah comes, you need to just imagine that none of that happens. You're no longer in this world. You don't care about food. You don't care about homework. You don't care about what you need to do. And all of a sudden, you need to just now think, Allah. And I need to speak to Allah, and that's it. You have no other thing that should be in your mind. Nothing else should be distracting you. So look at, I've got a few things here now. Think about your mind. What can we do with our mind? That, I think, is one of the most important things to work on. If we can work on the mind, then that will help us concentrate in salah on different levels. What can we do to our mind? So Ustada Aisha mentioned one point, that if we learn and understand what we're going to be reciting in salah, that will help us focus on what we're reading, what we're saying, as opposed to just randomly saying things. What else can we do with our mind? What can I think about when I'm in salah? Clear your mind. You know, there's an exercise I was trying the other day. I just made this up myself, right? And it was to try and sit and just not think about anything. Actually, everyone try and do that for about 20 seconds right now. Just think about nothing. And see how long you can think about nothing before a thought comes into your mind. Exactly. That's exactly what happened to me. I was thinking about nothing. So the first time I did that, and I wanted to stop thinking, I thought about the fact that right now I am actively thinking about not thinking. And that in itself is a thought. Now, trust me, keep doing this. And the more you practice this, just take some time out and just start thinking about nothing. And then eventually stop thinking altogether. So that Fiza and Ibrahim also saying, I was thinking about nothing. And now you need to take it to the next level. Now you need to stop thinking about nothing and actually just have a totally blank mind, and as though it's a blank paper, blank document with nothing written on it. And then you need to slowly, once you've cut everything away, you need to then slowly start adding on to only those things that you need. So like Hussein said, what are you reading in salah? That's what you need to now think about. What are you reading? Who are you speaking to? Why are you praying salah? What are you thinking about when you're standing? What are you thinking about when you're in ruku'? What are you thinking about when you're on the ground with your face on the ground? So you now need to start populating or filling that document up with what you should be thinking about. Zahra says, I need to close my eyes so I don't see something to think about. It's true. Sometimes actually I find it better to not close my eyes, because when I close my eyes, because when you open your eyes, you can only see the things that are around you. But when you close your eyes, you can actually see beyond that now, because there are 1,000,001 imaginary things that can come into your mind. Fiza Ibrahim say, think of it like meeting with Allah, your creator. Yes, exactly. So the mind is going to be the most important thing to think about. What do we think about? We need to be conscious. How much do we think about nonsense throughout the day? Why are our minds so busy? If somebody's phone is in the corner of the room and it just beeps slightly, their body starts reacting. Forget their mind, their body starts reacting automatically. Their arm lifts up. Try and set a ringtone off while you're sitting on the underground, and you'll start seeing people fidgeting around, even though it's not their own ringtone. Because our minds are so used to these relationships that if I hear a ringtone, it must be my phone, and I have to go straight to my pocket, or I have to go straight to my bag, or wherever my phone is. We have these immediate reactions. Now, when it comes to salah, all of these automatic reactions that our body has created, we need to now cut them off one by one, just get rid of them, because we need to start with nothing. We need to go back to zero. That's the only way we're going to be able to put all of our focus on the target. Okay, what about our body? So that's our mind. Our mind is going to be the most important thing. We need to get rid of everything else. We need to just try and get nothing in our mind, and then eventually think about Allah. Okay, what next? Our body. What can we do about our body? Think about your body in salah. What can your body be doing now, or shouldn't be doing? Help us concentrate. Keep still. Okay, that's one thing. Try that now. Give me 10 seconds of no movement. Saad Hamid, I saw you blink there. And I could see that your heart was still beating. So there was a slight movement on the inside. So what I'm doing right now is I'm basically being shaitan. Saad Hamid is in salah. And this is what shaitan does to a person. Oh, look, you got something on your nose, so you need to itch it right now. Doesn't your beard feel a bit soft? Why not give it a little stroke? Are your arms not hurting that you want to now put them down? So as soon as you start salah, all these whispers start coming into your mind. All of a sudden, you want to think about whether your nose is straight or whether it's a bit this way. You might have an itch that just appeared here all of a sudden. Or you may want to think about whether your button's undone. That's what shaitan does. His job is to make sure that you are as distracted as possible. I hate it. Zahra says, I hate it when the phone is buzzing when I read salah. It's true. I hate it when anything is beeping. It's true. Izar says, Salaamu alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah. Sheikh Izar. Oh yeah, our body, look, I've written our eyes. What are you meant to do with your eyes? Are you meant to be praying salah like this? Doing as many 360s as you can. Maybe exercising your eyes, right, left, up, down, diagonally. No, your eyes should be fixed on one position. Think about your destination. It's sajda. Your destination in salah is your sajda. You want to try and get there. What are you meant to do with your tongue? Exercise your tongue, talk to other people? No. What are you meant to do with your nose in salah? Give me some ideas. Why is my nose so important in salah? How can I be distracted by my nose other than touching it? Think about smelling.
So when you're reciting, you can do ikhfa with your nose, Sheikh, and various types of ghunnas that are out there.
You smell foods and you want it, but you're fasting, so no. I like that one. What else can we do? What happens? What goes into our nose? Air, smells, fragrances. Okay, so this makes you think about where you are praying. If you pray in the kitchen just before Maghrib and it's about iftar time, I don't think you're going to be concentrating on the objective. You're going to be concentrating on the pot behind you because there's a lot of nice smells coming out. Similarly, if you find yourself in a dirty place which is really smelly, you're going to be thinking about, I need to get through this salah as quick as possible so I can go because it really smells over here. So find a nice place, a clean place. That's why we say it's disliked and makruh to pray in a dirty place, in a dirty area. That's why you can't pray salah in a bathroom. No one goes to the bathroom to pray salah, even though it might be the quietest place in the house, because bad smells, odors, bad place. So these are things we need to think about before we start our salah. If it's really hot or cold, that's a very good one as well, actually. I cannot stand praying when it's hot. Every day in Isha Salah, I've had to just go to the window, open it, and just stand right next to the window because I just like praying there where it's cool, nice breeze. So your mind needs to be in the right place. Your body needs to be in the right position. No fidgeting, no moving around, no looking around. You need to be in a place where it smells nice so you're not distracted. Focus on your tongue, not talking to other people. Focus on your hands. Are you fidgeting? Are you playing with your watch? Are you playing with your beard if you have one? Are you itching unnecessarily? Are you playing around with your hat, your sleeves? Are they rolled up and now you want to roll them down? Think about location, we've done that, preparation, cleanliness. Is your tongue meant to be on the roof of your mouth or should it be moving if you read out loud? Your tongue needs to be moving. It needs to be pronouncing the letters that you are reading. So your tongue cannot be fixed in one place because recitation actually takes place with your tongue moving. So you can't read, that's a very good question. You can't read in your mind. I can't be like, hold my tongue and just think I'm reading Fatiha. No, I have to actually read it with my tongue. Alhamdulillah, moving my tongue around. And that will also help you with your focus because the more you slow your recitation down, the more you think about how you're pronouncing the letters and add on what we said about understanding the meaning. And you think about every limb in your body. What is it doing while you're praying? What is my hand doing? What is my tongue doing? What is my eye doing? And you just make sure that all of it is just being directed to one thing, and that is the salah and nothing else. Okay, and the last one I want to put there is virtues. There are so many hadith the Prophet ﷺ has taught us about the virtues of praying Asr Salah, the virtues of praying Tahajjud Salah, the virtues of this, the virtues of that. And if you have that at the front of your mind before you pray, you'll be thinking about getting those virtues. And there's nothing wrong with thinking about virtues. In fact, in one of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, "Man qama Ramadana imanan wa ihtisaba." Whoever stands in prayer in Ramadan with iman, faith, and ihtisab, with the hope of gaining reward. Your purpose is to gain reward. غُفِرَ لَهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِنْ ذَنْبِهِ, that your previous sins will be forgiven. So you're allowed to think about gaining reward. You're allowed to think about the virtues. If we weren't allowed to think about reward and virtue, the Prophet ﷺ would never have told us. He would have just said, Allah has told you to do this, so do this. End of story. No, we've been told about Jannah and paradise. So think about those things. The Prophet ﷺ, when you're reading these verses, sometimes you're reading about paradise, you think about paradise. Sometimes you're thinking about punishments in the afterlife. Think about punishments in the afterlife and how you could be questioned. Think about the prophets as you read through their stories in Salah and the kind of challenges they must have gone through. So that's the kind of mode a person needs to be in when they're praying Salah. And all of this actually links to fiqh, because there are certain things that will actually break your Salah. There are certain things that will break your Salah, but they're disliked in Salah, because all of these things turn you away from your objective. Okay. Salah. And I think this is very important in relation to focusing in Salah. The conditions, what we need to do before Salah, is a very important role in how we focus in our Salah. So who can give me certain things that we need to do before we pray? Intention, yes, we need to know what we're praying. Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, which Salah. You need to have wudu. Okay, so you need to be clean. So that in itself, if you look at the whole process of performing wudu, is about physically cleaning your body, but also spiritually cleaning. Because you're trying to wipe away the sins, you're trying to wash yourself away before you come into this arena before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Covering your body, yep, covering your aura. You want to be in a respectable, dignified manner. You're not going to go and pray Salah in your pajamas. Would you go outside in your pajamas and walk around on the streets? But then we think we're standing before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let me wear the best that I have before I stand in front of Him. Clean clothes, yes. Are you speaking to us? Because you're muted, sir.
Sorry.
Won't you? We can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, what if you're like me and you're used to wearing the weird and wonderful clothes that are out there all the time, even outside in public as well?
Then we hope that Allah likes your wonderful clothing, Sheikh.
Inshallah, inshallah. Okay. Jazakallah, Sheikh. Back over to you.
Perfect. That's a very good point, actually, because if it was something which you would be embarrassed to be seen in, then why would you want to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wearing that? So if you're okay with it, if you're happy to go in front of people and you think it's reasonable and it's respectful, then why not? Why? Let's got a few comments here. I would go on the street in pajamas as no one would be there because everyone's isolating. Not on my street. Unfortunately, I don't think people in my part of the world know what isolating is, because if I show you outside, there's a lot of people walking around and driving around. I would go on the streets in pajamas. Okay, that's done. That's why I would go on the street. Facing Qibla, yes. That's right. So let's have a look here. We've got time. No one mentioned time, I don't think, did you? Anyone mention time? You have to pray at the right time. You can't pray at Isha now, it's not time. Your body needs to be clean. I don't know why he's doing push-ups. It's not about being physically fit, but it's about having clean body, clean clothes, a clean place to pray. Your direction needs to be towards the Qibla and your intention needs to be there. Now, the reason why I think this is very important when it comes to Salah is sometimes we don't actually think about this. We just think, oh, it's time, I need to pray. And oh, I've done my wudu. No, think. I'm only going to pray because it's time for me to pray. Now, this section of my day needs to be allocated to praying. I need to make sure that before I stand before Allah, my clothes are clean. I need to make sure that the floor is clean. If not, I'm going to put a mat down. I'm going to make sure the place I'm in is clean. I'm going to make sure that I'm facing the right direction because I want to focus on the Kaaba as I'm praying. Make sure your intention is right because you know what you're praying. You're not just randomly starting and then afterwards you think, oh, am I praying Dhuhr or Asr? Which one is it? So all of these things, the reason why they're put there is to help a person focus and concentrate so that they get the best out of their prayer and their Salah. Okay, I'm just going to have a quick discussion about prayer time, because I think this is quite important, because sometimes we don't appreciate the world around us in relation to our salah. So how do we determine when it's time to pray? So that first one that we looked at, when do we know it's time? How do I know it's time for dhuhr? The sunrise, but not with Zahra goes, the sun tells us, but not with words. So how does it tell us? How does the sun communicate to me that it's time to pray? When I want to know if it's time, I go to the masjid's website and I look at the timetable and I just look at the time and then I look at the clock and I work it out that way. The sun's face, interesting. Hussein, what do you think? Sunrise. Khizr says sunrise, but so once it's sunrise, I pray all my salah. Fajr specifically. I hope you're not praying Fajr after sunrise, Khizr. You need to be praying Fajr before sunrise. Because at Fajr, at sunrise, it ends. Who's your teacher? Who's your Islamic studies teacher? Was it me? Astaghfirullah. You need a replacement teacher if you've been praying Fajr after sunrise. The place of the sun, that's right. So let's have a look at this. I've got some pictures that I want to just show you guys. So as you can see, it's really dark right now. There's no light. You can see the super moon. I took this photo last night when I was on my in my villa in Spain, Sheikh. And then, oh, you're muted again.
It's a beautiful site you have there, Sheikh. Where in Spain is your villa?
Somewhere in the south, Sheikh.
Seville.
I'm not too good with names. Somewhere in the south.
Fantastic.
I just bought it last week.
We had our Sheikh Muhammad Al Idrisi of Seville with us today.
Oh, subhanAllah, there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I took this photo yesterday, the super moon, and then I just got a flight back today. I landed just about maybe half an hour before the session, just in time. Oh, Hila, interesting. Okay, so it's really dark outside. And now what happens? Okay, what's happening there? What can you see in the background? It's gone now. What's gone? Moon. Forget the moon, we're looking at the sun. What's happening? Can you see something in the background? Something starting to appear. A little bit of sun, yeah. But you can't even see the sun. You can just see a bit of light coming out. Now, when you see this little bit of light appearing from the horizon, that means your Fajr time has started. And now you're able to pray your Fajr and you start seeing it getting lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. And even now you can still pray Fajr because the sun hasn't come out. As long as the sun does not come out, you can keep on praying your Fajr Salah. And eventually when the disk of the sun pops up, if this is the horizon, and the disk just appears over the top, that means Fajr time has now come to an end. So this is how we work out. Now, this time is then noted down into timetables, and the mosques will have that. So that's why I have these certain times on the timetable in the mosque. It's not based on what the timetable says. The timetable is just trying to reflect where exactly the sun is, at what time light will start appearing, and when the sun comes out. If I look outside at Fajr time, there's going to be a lot of foxes and animals outside. I don't know why they come at that time. That's because you're inside sleeping. But they get a chance to roam around London. Okay, now let's have a look at this. This is a bit confusing actually. But let's see if you understand. Sometimes I don't understand this myself, I get confused. So where does the sun rise from, Zahra? The east or the west? Has anyone even seen a sunrise in this country? East. Hussein said east. If Hussein came to save you then. Has anyone seen a sunrise in this country? I think we're all just too busy sleeping, right? After Fajr. No. I used to see when I was studying in Darul Uloom, in Ramadan, we used to go because there's a mountain behind the madrasa. So after praying Fajr Salah, we then climbed the little mountain and we used to just sit there. It used to be just so nice just sitting there. And then you get to see how fast the sun rises up. It's very quick. So look, the sun rises on the east. It pops up. Let's see. You can see my mouse. And it starts going up, 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 up. What's going to happen as the sun starts rising? You're going to start to see a shadow. So imagine this house here. When the sun rises over here, this house is now going to have a shadow. Is the sun, as soon as it pops up, is it going to have a big shadow or a small shadow? What do you guys think? Nasir says, when sun goes on top of your head, okay, perfect, we're going to get there, inshallah. Do you think it's going to be small or big as soon as the sun rises? Small, everyone's saying small. Are you sure? So imagine the sun is, where are we? Can I annotate on this? I can. Imagine the sun is over here and you've got an item over here, the house. So is the shadow going to be small or big? Because it's going to be hitting this whole small. Big, Hussein says big. I agree with Hussein. It's going to be really big. And as the sun starts going up and up and up and up, and it goes directly above your head, right? And the house is here, you're going to have an extremely small shadow, really small shadow. And that's going to be there. And that, when it gets to the smallest shadow, that's when it becomes midday. And now, as Nasir said, your Dhuhr time starts. Now you've got a small shadow and the sun's going to start setting again, slowly. It's going to make its way down. And as it makes its way down, is your shadow going to start getting bigger or smaller now? Big, good. It's going to start getting bigger and bigger. So from really small shadow, as the sun starts to set, so imagine you're here, the sun is here, your shadow is going to be on this side now. So let's do this. Sun's over here, you're over here, and your shadow is here. As the sun comes down here, your shadow is getting taller and taller and taller. This is science, Sheikh. It's true, this is the fiqh of science. So now what happens? How do we determine Asr time? This is the important one now. This is where it comes. This is where it gets interesting with Asr time. How do we understand Asr time? Because Asr is to do with this shadow. So Dhuhr is midday, when the sun's right at the top, the smallest shadow. And as it starts setting, I'm setting on the wrong side, by the way. No one picked that out, did you? The sun should be setting on this side. The shadow is going to start getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Khidr says, I think it's when your shadow is twice the size of you. Okay. That's right. So just say this person here is 2 meters tall. So when you have 2 meters, there's a difference of opinion here. Some people say, now Dhuhr time has started. Asr time has started. Whereas other people say, no, when it's double the size. So how many meters? If you're 2 meters, then it's 4 meters. Good. Zahra said you're confused. So let me start again. At the middle of the day, the sun is your shadow is the shortest. And as it starts setting this way, your shadow is going to start getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, when this shadow is twice the size of you, so just say you're 2 meters tall, you're quite tall, right? You're 2 meters. Now, if the shadow is 4 meters, now you know Asr time has started. So you're going to work your prayer times according to the sun and the shadow. Now remember, just remember there's a point here that some people say, no, it's actually when it's only the same size as you. That's why when you go to some countries, like when you go for Umrah, they have Asr time a bit earlier than we would. Or if you go to Turkey or some of these countries, they pray Asr a little bit early. And some mosques, you'll notice, but this is just to clear confusion. If you go to some mosques, they might say Asr starts at 6 o'clock. Another mosque might say, no, it starts by 4:30. If you want to know why two mosques are saying two different things, this is why. Because some say, no, it's when it's one length, and some say, no, when it's two lengths. So that just to provide a bit of clarity on that issue. And then, so that's Fajr done, when it starts getting light. Dhuhr, when the sun's at the top. Asr, when your shadow is twice your length. What about Maghrib now? When does Maghrib kick in? Sunset, exactly. We've got some nice pictures of a sunset here. And if you look at the bottom, you've got the sun setting slowly going low. Eventually, when this small top part of the sun disappears below the horizon and there's no sun left, that's when your Maghrib time has started. Maghrib time kicks in. Yes, Nasser said when shadow becomes equal to your size. Good. That's one position for when Asr time starts. Otherwise, the other one is when it's double your height. Okay, so that's Maghrib. Yep. And yeah, that's right. This is from Spain. This was last night when the sun was setting. This is when I went to my other villa on the other side of Spain, take some photos of the sun setting before I quickly came back to capture the super moon and then catch my flight back to England. Okay, now what about Isha? So when the sun sets, Hussein says, are you sure? Maybe I'm fasting and I'm hallucinating. Is that I'm not got enough food inside me? So then you have, after the sunset, you have this redness in the sky. Eventually, when this redness disappears, you're going to be left with this clearness at the top. Yeah, this purple. That disappears, you have this clear light. Eventually, when that disappears and you have total darkness and it becomes totally black, that's when your Isha time starts. Good. So remember, when the sun sets, it starts going orangey, reddish. And then once all of the redness and white light has disappeared and is black, that's when your Isha time starts. So that's your 5 salah done, all based on the sun, starting in the east, Fajr, sunrise, can't pray anything. Dhuhr, midday, Asr, Maghrib, disappears, and Isha. What's happening here? This is a really cool one. What do you think these guys are watching? Is Sadham is sleeping? No, he's contemplating. He's doing muraqabah.
Meditation, Sheikh.
Yes. Okay, I don't think any of you are going to get this one right. What do you think these guys are observing? Come on, who is it? Who of you is going to work this one out for me? When the sun goes down. Oh, sorry. Was that for sunset? Sorry. There's a slight lag on YouTube. That's why these comments come a bit later. Fajr, they're observing the sun. What about the sun? The moon. Khidr says the moon. Where do you see the moon? Moon sighting behind me. It's looking good. Is the moon out? I can't see the moon. Okay, what are they looking at? So the sky, this is actually a country where at certain times in the year, the sun does not set. It doesn't disappear at all. It's always light. But look at this. This is how it works for them.
Wow.
Over here, you have the sun coming up.
I really like that picture, Sheikh.
Yeah, it's quite nice. So it's midday. It's the Dhuhr time kicks in. Asr time kicks in. And guess what? We can't pray Maghrib or Isha because the sun, once it gets to the horizon, it decides, actually, I don't want to go that way anymore. Today, I'm going to be stubborn and rebellious. And I'm going to come back up again. And it starts going up. And then you make your way back to Dhuhr. So how do you pray Maghrib, Isha, and Fajr? No iftari, exactly, Khidr. That's actually more important. No iftar. They have to fast for 30 days without no eating. That's right. Zahra says other country times. How do we pray? How are they
Sheikh,
meant to pray?
by some of the answers coming in, you can potentially open up your own Darul Iftar right here on Zoom.
You could. Got all these muftis giving their own fatwas. Okay. I was talking about the ustad. Go back to the chat and you will see. Okay, so we have options. So some people, they say, hey, let's follow another country. What's the closest country where the sun does set? And we'll just copy their time and we'll use that. Some people say, no, let's just make an estimate. If the sun was to set, and then you make a rough calculation. This is quite interesting. There was a video going around, I think in, I can't remember where it was, Norway or somewhere. And in Ramadan, they don't have a setting sun. So they have this where the sun just hovers around the horizon. Finland, was it Finland? Possibly. And you had that brother showing us how the sun doesn't set So some countries have a lot of complications. Some places, the sun doesn't set for months and they just have the sun hovering, no nighttime. I wonder what impact that has on their mind. It must have an impact on the human mind, not being able to see night, darkness. So yeah, that's just something I thought I'd bring in because it's quite interesting to see how some countries have issues. That's why with us, when it comes to fasting in summer, we have like the longest days in the year. We have some of the longest fasts in the world, 19 hours, 20 hours. Some countries go up to 21 hours, some countries even 22 hours. So they do have a sunset, but the time from sunset to sunrise is only 2 hours. But they have 2 hours eating, 22 hours staying hungry. So if we think we have it bad, alhamdulillah, we have it a lot easier than other countries. Okay, going back for the last section. Oh, this is another picture showing the sun which doesn't set. So it comes down, it hovers around, and then it starts flying off again. It'll be like a plane that decides I don't want to land anymore, and it just takes off again. Yeah, this one I took back. While I stopped on the way. So on my flight back, back to South Spain, I stopped over somewhere, quickly took a photo, told the pilot to just pause for a second, while I can take some photos and then come back. Okay, back to our discussion. Sorry, that was a little side point. Jumla mu'tarida of salah times. Okay, so when a person says that takbir tahrima, we're going back to the focusing now. You've basically entered this bubble. And you're now in a totally different world. You've disconnected yourself. You've thrown away the world behind you. You've thrown away eating, drinking, talking, playing, sleeping, all of that. And now you're just thinking about your salah and you're inside this bubble. There are certain things that can pop this bubble of yours and bring you back into the world. And that means your salah has broken and popped. What do you think those things are? What kind of things will... Which villa is this? Nasser is saying on YouTube. It is a villa in South London, South Spain, sorry. We don't exactly know where it is. Okay, Zahra says shaitan can pop the bubble. It's true, shaitan can, but there are other things that actually break your salah. PS4, yeah, so if you're praying salah and you decide to start playing PS4, then that's going to break your salah. That's a good point. What else? Biryani smells. That can distract you, but it won't pop your bubble. To be honest, if your bubble is so strong and your focus is so strong, it doesn't matter how strong the biryani smell is, it won't confuse you at all. Any ideas? What kind of things break my salah? So if I'm in salah, what can break my prayer? What action can break my prayer? Khidr, straight to the point, fart, laughing, passing winds, okay? All those things that break, vomiting. So anything that breaks your wudu is going to break your salah, good. But what else?
And Mufti Hilal, I think you'll get something from the Chotu kids as well on YouTube.
But the Chotu also said farting. The first one everyone goes to, the first thing that breaks your salah. There's a few other things. Can I start eating while I'm praying? So
not if you're fasting.
If Tarawih is long, can I just get some pieces of food and just store them in different parts of my mouth? And every 4 rakats, just tap into a different section. After 4 rakats, I'm going to go into the samosa over here. After 8 rakats, I'm going to go into some rice over here. I have a chewing gum stored for later to freshen my mouth so no one realizes I'm eating. It has to be in the right sequence, right? Pink milk. Yes, Zahra knows. Ramadan, no one's Ramadan is complete without the pink milk. Okay, so I've got a few things here. There are certain things that can pop the bubble of your salah, and it can pull you back out of that spiritual world that you're in. So speaking, you can't talk to anybody. Interestingly, some people actually mentioned that if you make a dua of something worldly, that, oh Allah, I want you to provide me with certain types of food for iftar today. That can break your salah. Do you know why? Because you've taken yourself out of the spiritual realm and you brought yourself into the world again. Why are you thinking and asking for the world? You should be asking for the next life. If somebody says Assalamu alaikum and in salah you go, wa alaikum assalam, brother, how are you? That's also going to break your salah. Major movements, someone starts breakdancing in salah, or playing with a fidget spinner, or they start spinning around, twirling around, all of that's going to break your salah.
They start doing a zoomy, Sheikh.
Start doing a zoomy. If you turn away from the Qibla, remember, you have 90 degrees like this. So if Qibla is this way, you have 45 degrees that way, 45 degrees that way. You're allowed to pray anywhere between there. Try and get as much as close as you can. You have anywhere between there. If your chest turns away into the wrong direction, that is also going to break your salah. See, look, now we're doing the fiqh of maths, right? 45 and 45 degrees. What's 90 degrees? Isn't that called a right angle? I did learn something. Eating, you can't do that. Drinking, making noises. So if you're making some silly noises while you're in salah, maybe beatboxing, that might break your salah. The salah time comes to an end, breaking your wudu, we've done that, falling asleep, and you make a major mistake in your recitation, and you said something that changes the meaning totally. And you say something like, all the believing people will go into Jahannam. Okay, that happens a lot in Taraweeh. Huffaz just makes so many interesting mistakes that you just, like, if somebody understood the meaning, you'd be shocked at what is said.
Mufti Hilal?
Yes.
Can I mention a very quick anecdote on that? And I always like mentioning this. I mentioned it a couple of days ago as well. We were in Dewsbury Darul Uloom, and we were behind the Imam. He was also a student. So instead of reading Wattini was Zaytun, instead of reading Wattini was Zaytun, he read Wattini was Zaytun. He read the ta as a ta, right? So Wattini was Zaytun. And that was a very interesting situation. It was confusing. So I remember some of the teachers, then they phoned Mufti Sacha Sahab, and he said that, no, everyone has to redo their salah again. So absolutely. Yeah,
it's a very delicate issue. Though there are different positions here. There's a very nice position which says if you don't know Arabic, then you are okay to continue because it's not your first language. And there's quite a few scholars that said if you're not Arab and you don't know the language, then if you make mistakes like that, it won't invalidate your salah.
Oh,
that's why, as a precaution, when you do pray Taraweeh, sometimes you'll see they'll say we need to repeat those two again, because sometimes the Imam may say something which is very wrong, and because that goes against the message of the Quran, and they repeat their prayer and they redo it as portion as well.
And that just goes to show the importance of the preservation of every single word and letter of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala.
That goes back to your lesson on how the Quran was compiled and preserved. That we don't want to play around with anything. The Quran is a place where we don't mess around. So I said, can I scratch my leg? Yes, you can, as a minor movement, but you shouldn't be spending long amounts of time scratching your leg. Otherwise, that could invalidate your salah if you do it for too long. So a quick scratch, just get rid of it. And the purpose is so that you can get back to focusing. If you can totally ignore it, our focus in salah should be such that nothing can distract us in salah. There's that famous story about Sheikh Zakaria, who would stand in the courtyard praying and have flies all over him because it's hot and he's sweating and there's flies, and he wouldn't be shaken by any of those flies. Nor would his movements distract the flies.
And I thought you were going to mention the story of archery and salah, where a Sahabi got a arrow stuck in his back of his foot. Would you like to mention that to us, Sheikh?
What happens if someone plays archery in salah?
SubhanAllah. I think that's what kind of happened, isn't it?
Wasn't there that story about one companion who was, that's the one, isn't it? And then blood was gushing out, Sheikh.
Yep.
And he carried on in his salah. But the Hanafi will say, but shouldn't his salah break?
Yeah. So would you like to mention that story for the student, Sheikh, about the Sahabi who was most likely playing archery as all the good Sahaba used to? And then somehow, I'm actually intrigued now that I've done archery, how did he get that arrow shot in his foot, Sheikh?
Because they weren't following the rules of archery about when you can point an arrow, when you can't point an arrow.
Absolutely. Yeah. So he got one shot in his foot, Sheikh. And then the only time he had so much concentration that he wouldn't even feel the pain was during Salah. And that's where he started reading Salah and his friends or whoever was pulling the arrow out pulled the arrow out, and he didn't even feel it, because during the salah of the Sahaba, they totally blocked out everything,
The
even
entire
pain.
world was forgotten.
Yeah. Do carry on, Sheikh. Sorry for the intrusion.
So now I'm just trying to draw a similarity here. Can you see all these things that break your salah? Something to do with the world, something to do with this dunya. Salah is very focused on the next life. So sleeping, drinking, eating, talking, all of these kind of things are related to this world. So we want to try and focus as much as we can on the afterlife. And if it doesn't break your salah, anything that distracts you in salah, anything that causes a distraction, that might not break your salah, but it will reduce the reward, and it will be a dislike act. So for example, you have certain aspects in salah that are optional. So reading Subhana Rabbiyal A'la is a sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. If you left it out, your salah won't become invalid, but it will reduce the reward because it's not at the best that you could have done it. Playing with your clothes, fiddling around, playing with your buttons, moving stones away. So if you're praying outside and you're going to do something, and you quickly move whatever's on the floor, clicking your finger with the stones, yes. Right? So obviously we're used to praying inside on carpets. When you go camping and you have to pray on the grass, sometimes you might have a pebble there. You might even have worms there. What are you going to do? You're going to pray on the worms. You're going to move it away. Oh, interesting. Why are there hearts? So it's Ustad Hamid. Ustad Hamid he's put a heart right on the food.
See, I was giving a bit of a lived experience of what happens during Salah. This is how distractions begin, Sheikh. So that's what I was just doing there. But do carry on.
Yeah, having your hands on your hip, looking around, minor movements. Major movements break your salah, minor movements, a quick itch here and there. Facing towards pictures and images of living beings. Praying in dirty places where your clothes are dirty. Interestingly, I love this last one, when the food is ready. So sometimes if the food has been prepared and it's just put and it's time for you to pray. Now, some people are like, oh man, and their whole salah is thinking about that food because they're just so hungry. So the idea here is eat something quickly so that your stomach is now satisfied, and then pray your salah so that you can focus more. But that doesn't mean if you're about to miss your salah because the time's running out and the food's ready, then you miss your salah. No, your priority has to be to pray the salah within its time. Did you read Maghrib before or after? That is the biggest difference of opinion, because you have those that love to eat the whole meal before Maghrib salah. You have those that have a few dates, pray Maghrib, and then have a full meal.
That's a very interesting question, Sheikh. Definitely. And can I just share my personal experience? I feel that it's much easier and I feel relaxed once I just have some water and maybe a date and then pray, because then after that your mind is free. You don't have to worry about salah. You can focus on your food after that, Sheikh. Do you think that's one way of looking at it?
I know.
But yeah, because sometimes, when you have so much food all at once, it's very difficult to then stand up in salah and be able to pray salah in that comfortable mode with
Praying
concentration.
salah with a full stomach is extremely hard. So I would advise, have a few dates, drink some water, maybe throw something into your mouth quickly, eat that, pray your Maghrib salah nicely, comfortably, and then eat. You have all the time in the world, all little Fajr start time to now eat. So pray your salah comfortably. Because at the end of the day, who are you thanking for that food? There are some people, there's that video going around where people don't even have food to break their iftar and to break their fast. So the priority in our mind should be, I want to thank Allah for giving me all of this. The amount sometimes we look at the amount of food we have, and we have so many options. Like right now I'm sitting here and I know that I will inshallah have food for iftar. Unfortunately, some people don't know that. Some people are wondering what they're going to eat in the evening. Will there be any food in the evening? Will they get anything? Will they have enough money to buy something? So praying is very important for us to show how we appreciate all the favors that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with. So just have a look at this, how certain actions can break our salah because they're very worldly. And certain things won't break our salah, but they will reduce the reward. So we need to avoid these things, and we need to go into focus like this dude here and focus as much as we can and make sure that our salah is the best that we can. affecting our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's just a bit like, I gave an example here of if I've got bad internet connection right now, everything that I'm saying is going to be fuzzy. So I want to make sure that the connection is good. So similarly, your salah is your connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you want to make sure that that is the best connection. And there's nothing in between that's distracting you or turning you away. And you have the best communication experience with Allah. And always make a dua at the end of salah, that, oh Allah, forgive me if I have failed and if I have done something wrong in my salah, and please accept my prayer. And we shall end it there. End on this picture.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Sorry about that. I have two buttons for mute. One is on Zoom, one is on my mic. So that's where it kind of gets confusing. But Jazakallahu khairan for that lesson, Sheikh. I think it's an incredibly important lesson. And as Salah is one of the pillars of Islam, one of the main pillars of Islam, one of the first questions that we will be asked about and accounted for on the Day of Judgment, we need to work on the quality of it. You know, just like at school, we constantly are asked to progress, make, focus on our work to make it better. Even when it comes to handwriting, we've got to focus on our handwriting bit by bit every day to get it better and better and better. It's a slow process. It takes time. That's why this lesson was important, to remind us as well that we've got to do this. And at the same time, it's going to take time, but you've got to start with every single salah. So even before salah, think about, okay, I need to focus on this salah. And give yourself a little grade after each salah, how well you done. And if you do that every day, inshallah, you will get more and more focused. And if you can focus in your salah, you'll be able to have good focus and concentration during your day, and then weeks and months and years, and then inshallah for the rest of our lives. So Jazakallah for that very, very, very important lesson. And maybe we can have more on this. So looking at concentration in salah from various different perspectives as well, because many ulama, many scholars, they give us different ways of focusing on our salah as well. But I liked your approach today through fiqh. Jazakallahu khairan for that, Sheikh. And inshallah, we will see you next week. So any questions? Anyone have any questions?
I think someone said, Jazakallah, teach us how to take great pictures like yours. So yeah, it's a very special camera I have. It's called the DSLR Google. So if you go on there and you take photos via this google.com, make sure you have the settings on images, and then you'll have some you'll be able to take some really, really sharp pictures. Then you just right click, copy and paste, and it's not that. I think one of the most important things, one of the most beneficial things that I've experienced with focusing in salah is the exercise that we did at the beginning about thinking about nothing. And the more I did that, the more I started to realize in salah when my mind is totally out of concentration and when it is in concentration. I think it's a really good exercise. Just try and sit and not think about anything, because we're so busy the whole day. From the moment we wake up to when we go to sleep, we just think and think about all sorts. So we need time where we don't think and we just allow our minds to just be where it needs to be.
Absolutely. Jazakallahu khairan for your time, Mufti Hilal. Inshallah, we will potentially see you next week again for another session of Fiqh Made Easy with Mufti by Ustad Hilal. So Jazakallah for that. It's a question. Yeah, if you have a question, do go ahead, put it down as quickly as possible, because we do want to end this session, because we've got a session of scouts coming very soon within the next 45 minutes or so. So do please ask a question straight away.
SubhanAllah, I've uploaded my notes on your Google Drive, Ustaz.
Fantastic. Jazakallahu khairan. Is that the one on? Is that the one for the weekdays for my one? Do clarify that so we can bring that up. And as Mufti Hilal, as you answer the question, Homework Hub, I will maybe bring that up, Sheikh. So if you just answer the question, Sheikh, and I'll have a look at what.
I think that's yours, Sheikh. Zahra says, the Smarties challenge, where should we send for mini chefs? The
which challenge?
Smarties.
I think that one is got to be sent to. Actually, just send it to. You can send it to my hub. Do let me know, and I will forward it to. Or if you can get your parents to WhatsApp it to me, and I will forward it to the big chef, inshallah. Do you know what the Smarties challenge is, Mufti Hilal? You might want to
I
try
saw
that after
those
iftar
kids.
today.
Is it the one where you're taking it from one bowl to the other?
Yes, but you got to use a straw.
You have to do it when you're not fasting in case one goes in
Yes.
your mouth and you swallow.
What if, and I have another question, Sheikh. So, you know, if you're doing that Smarties challenge with a small enough straw that it won't go in, but you can almost kind of feel the taste of it, will that break your fast?
It depends what you're tasting. If you're tasting Smarties and you're eating something, so you've been insulted by Zahra says, Mufti, you are better than Ustad Hamid in photography.
Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible.
If you saw my photography skills, you would be embarrassed.
Yep. Mufti Hilal, can I just very quickly share? Can I share maybe Hussein's notes, because I think there might be a bit of value for everyone else as well, and just the fact that everything he's put it up so quickly. What do you think? Okay, so can you see my screen?
Oh wow, mashallah.
Oops, sorry, something's gone wrong here. Let's do that again. Right, so here it is. Oh, it keeps ringing me up. Right, so notes on session on the 8th. Is it the 8th today already? Oh, that was quick. Salah Takbir Tahrima is when you raise your hands and say Allahu Akbar and begin your Salah. Fantastic. To help you concentrate in Salah, close off everything around you and focus on connecting with Allah. Think about what you are reading in Salah. Conditions before Salah time, body clothes, place, direction, intention. Look at the sun in the sky to
know the prayer time.
To know the prayer time. Fantastic.
Fantastic. I think Zahra wants to share hers as well.
Yep. Do put it up there now and we'll share it very quickly. Jazakallah for that. Hussein, that was very good. So Zahra, I've got your tafsir sessions here, as you can see. As soon as you put it up, inshallah, I should be able to receive it.
Let's try refreshing.
So do share it. Yep. Okay. Right. Okay, come on, Zahra. Once you've done it, then we'll share it as well. Any questions on the chat in the meantime, Mufti Hilal, you would like to answer?
No, Hussein, it was good. But yeah, you can work on it even better. You shared
Zahra,
tafsir, sorry. Oh.
Okay, let's share one of your tafsir sessions, notes. Oh, look at that, Sheikh. There's also cutouts on there. And there's I'm guessing that's the Surah Yunus alayhi salam's tafsir that we did a couple of weeks ago, because we can see a whale with very sharp teeth. Oh, actually it says, oh Allah. So that's
coming up.
Yeah, that's very
nice, mashallah.
And then also there's some definitions or translations of some of the important words, okay, keywords. Oops. There we go. We went deep into the ocean to see the fish. That's how it looked like. Okay. Fantastic. And let's just look at the other one, and we are done for the day, inshallah. So here's Zahra. Here's nice work from Zahra again. Let's have a look. And that's the story of Yunus alayhi salam as well. So Zahra's and there was the overview of the story of Yusuf alayhi salam as well. Aziz means powerful. He was a powerful person. Good. Anything here? Interesting. Okay. Jazakallah for that, Zahra, as well. And Jazakallah for uploading your notes for us, Hussein, and making it available for all other students to also check out your notes. So Mufti Hilal, are you with us?
I am here.
Okay. Any last points, Mufti Hilal, before we wrap up? Okay.
Wrap up, inshallah.
Jazakallahu khairan. Once again, Jazakallahu khairan to Mufti Hilal for his weekly sessions. We benefit quite a lot. There are many people who do watch the clip afterwards because it's available on YouTube. Many people are watching it as a recorded version because some people are still working because they're key workers or they're working on the front line. There are others who cannot watch at this time, so they watch later on. So Jazakallah to everyone. Please make dua for us. Please make dua for Mufti Hilal, that Allah increase his knowledge and make it beneficial for us, inshallah. And Jazakallah to all the students who are with us. Riaz is saying, can you tell us about the book you mentioned about Ibn Khaldun? Yes, that's the Asr time bell. So yes, it's the Muqaddimah. I will, inshallah, in the chat somewhere put it down. I will do that. It's the Muqaddimah of Ibn Khaldun. Muqaddimah. Even if you type up Ibn Khaldun Muqaddimah, it should come up on Amazon, inshallah. Okay, so Jazakallahu khairan, everyone else. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.